Right now, your phone is somewhere near you. Maybe it's in your pocket. Maybe it's face down on the table, buzzing without your permission. And in the next 10 minutes, you're going to check it. You know you are. You might even feel the pull happening right now, a small itch behind your eyes. But here's the strange part. The urge you're feeling has almost nothing to do with the phone. It's 2 million years old. Your ancestors didn't have notifications. They had something else entirely, something that worked exactly the same way in your skull, wired into the same circuits, chasing the same reward. To understand why you can't put your phone down, you have to go back to a time before phones existed at all, before screens, before language, even. Back to a brain built for one job, finding out what happens next. Start with a simple question. Why does checking feel good, even when there's nothing new to find? Neuroscientist Jake Panksepp spent decades mapping the emotional systems buried deep in the mammalian brain, and he found something that changed how scientists think about motivation. He called it the seeking system, not a pleasure system, not a satisfaction system, a seeking system. It doesn't reward you for finding something good. It rewards you for looking. Sit with that for a second. The dopamine doesn't fire when you find the reward. It fires when you anticipate it. Panksepp's rats, when this circuit was stimulated, didn't stop to enjoy anything. They just kept moving, kept sniffing, kept searching corners of the cage for something that might be there. Not satisfaction. Appetite. An engine built to search, not to rest. Now picture your ancestor, 70,000 years ago, walking through tall grass on the edge of a forest. Every rustle could be food. Every shadow could be a predator. A ripe berry bush might be around the next bend, or it might not. The only way to know was to keep looking. The humans who felt a small itch of curiosity, who couldn't quite leave a question unanswered, were the ones who found the food, avoided the threat, and passed on their genes. The incurious ones just stayed put and starved. That itch didn't disappear when farming replaced foraging. It didn't disappear when cities replaced forests. It just ran out of forests to search. And then, in 2007, it found something better than a forest. It found a screen that refills itself. Here's where it gets even stranger. Why does the itch feel stronger when you don't know what you'll find? Why is an unread notification so much harder to ignore than one you've already opened? In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner ran an experiment with pigeons that would end up explaining, 70 years early, exactly why your phone feels impossible to put down. He built a box with a lever. Sometimes pressing the lever gave the pigeon food. Sometimes it gave nothing. And critically, the pigeon never knew which one was coming. Skinner called this a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it turned out to be the single most addictive pattern he could design. Pigeons on this schedule pressed the lever far more obsessively than pigeons who got food every single time. Predictable rewards satisfy you. Unpredictable ones hook you. Think about what happens when you pull down on your phone screen to refresh a feed. Sometimes there's something there. Sometimes there isn't. You genuinely don't know until you look. That single design choice, whether anyone intended it this way or not, replicates Skinner's pigeon lever almost perfectly. Your thumb becomes the lever. Your feed becomes the food that sometimes appears and sometimes doesn't. And your ancient seeking system, the same one that sent your ancestors into the grass looking for berries, cannot tell the difference between a bush that might have fruit and an app that might have news. But there's a piece still missing. Food and safety explain why you'd search a forest. They don't fully explain why so much of your checking behavior is about people. Why you refresh a message thread. Why a notification with a name attached feels more urgent than one without. For that, look at the work of anthropologist Robin Dunbar. Dunbar spent years studying primate social groups and noticed something odd. The bigger a species' typical social group, the bigger its neocortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex thought. Humans, it turns out, evolved to track an enormous social world, roughly 150 stable relationships, according to Dunbar's estimates. That's a lot of names, faces, alliances, debts, and rivalries to keep updated in real time. Dunbar proposed that gossip, plain old talking about other people, was never trivial. It was the mechanism early humans used to maintain that social web. Who can be trusted? Who is a threat? Who had a baby? Who broke an alliance? Who might help you if the group turns on you? In a small tribe, being socially up-to-date wasn't gossip for entertainment. It was survival information, as critical as knowing where the water was. So when a notification appears with a person's name on it, Something old and specific switches on. It's not just curiosity anymore. It's tribal monitoring. Your brain treats a text message with roughly the same urgency your ancestors gave to news about the neighboring camp. Put these three pieces together, and the picture becomes almost uncomfortably clear. A seeking system that rewards you for searching, not finding. A variable reward schedule that makes uncertainty more compelling than certainty. And a social tracking instinct that treats every human update as vital intelligence. None of these were designed for a smartphone. All of them were designed for a world of grasslands, small tribes, and real, physical danger. But they don't know that world is gone. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. This isn't a flaw in your willpower. It isn't a personal failing, some weakness you alone carry. It's a perfectly functioning ancient system, operating exactly as intended, just aimed at a target that never stops producing stimulus. Your ancestors' forest eventually ran out of new corners to check. Eventually, they'd searched it all, and the itch would quiet down until tomorrow. Your feed never runs out. There's always one more scroll, one more update, one more possible message from someone in your tribe of 150. Does that mean you're powerless against it? Not quite. Understanding where the itch comes from doesn't make it vanish, but it does change what you're actually fighting. You're not fighting laziness. You're not fighting a lack of discipline. You're fighting a 2 million-year-old survival mechanism that thinks every unread notification might be the difference between finding food and going hungry. Once you can name that, the phone stops feeling like a mystery. It starts feeling like a very old, very familiar itch wearing a new disguise. So the next time your hand drifts toward your phone for no particular reason, notice what's actually happening underneath. It isn't boredom, not really. It's a seeking system built in a body older than language. Still walking through tall grass, still checking every rustle in the leaves, still convinced that just around the next bend, something important might be waiting. Your phone is somewhere near you. In a few minutes, you'll check it again. And when you do, you won't just be a person glancing at a screen. You'll be your ancestor, still standing at the edge of the forest, still listening for the sound of something that might, just might, be worth finding.